Gods and goddesses in training, welcome back to the channel. It's Uncle Makara. Today we're talking all about the topic of overgiving. So this is a very, very interesting topic, man, because I think that some people might say that I'm overgiving, that I'm over-delivering, giving too much advice to people, okay, unsolicited advice to people. Hey, man, I think it really comes down to where are you coming from? What do I mean by that? Where are you coming from? Are you coming from a lack? Are you coming from a fear? Or are you giving with love, without any attachment or any expectation on those results? One is, it's my personality, it's my genuine beingness in giving. Another one is actually infantilizing somebody else, dismissing somebody else, okay? Creating this level of, insecure, grandiose nature, almost using it as a projection, right? Because sometimes we have wounds of codependency, where we give too much or we find ourselves over-functioning. It's not even like the gratitude that other people show us can ever fulfill that, because we're playing at almost a different level. You see what I mean? So a person who's a very overly functioning, they're stressing themselves out and giving themselves more responsibility than they can handle. So that's number one. You have to really figure that out is, am I giving myself too much to handle right now? Do I have way too much on my plate? And do I need to give myself the self-care in order to really not give from an empty bucket, but give from a space of presence, of compassion, of deep stillness and love? So really understand where you're overgiving, because would a god overgive? Would a goddess overgive? No, they're just emanating, right? It's like a river doesn't feel like, oh, the animals are drinking from me, like, oh, that animal can have more, right? The moose that's drinking from the river has more than the horse that comes up to drink from it, right? No, it's giving its energy freely, because the nature of the river is that it's sustenance, right? And you cannot argue with the river because it's always moving and changing. And this is one thing I want you guys to understand. A lot of us in culture, we have separated ourselves from that Shakti, right? And Shakti is that feminine essence, that principle of, the form of Shiva and the formless. So your relationship with formlessness and this mystical world is that relationship with Shakti energy. And everything around you is Shakti energy, right? The food you eat, the colors, all of that Maya that you experience, it's through this dessert, this lila, this divine play. And when you can engage with the playfulness of life again, you stop overgiving. Because there's not this burden that you need to give to others, or I need to provide so much value that people will finally respect me, okay? No, you're just valuable. You solve problems. Stop trying to look at this like some kind of manufactured micromanagement. It's more so a letting yourself surrender and let go and actually give advice from a place of presence, right? Don't burn yourself out. Like today, I have to make this video in my office, right? Not at home. And well, it's technically my happiness studio, right? So I'm making this video from this space because I feel like it's a lot more empowering to do it here than I felt quite rushed at home, I had a client, or some would say a patient here, because I'm a counselor and positive psychologist. So yeah, I had to change my plans up. But again, it's like, it's not that I had to deliver today, because already there was an episode out, if you guys saw. I channeled Hermes last night, okay? But also what happened last night is we were meant to have the Savage Shaman podcast, but it got streamed on this YouTube channel instead, okay? Now I can know for sure that that was Hermes, bro. That was not even me. Like, I wasn't even conscious during that time, right? I was just streaming, but I was still in Hermes' mercurial energy, right? And then I noticed it later, right after I channeled, actually. And I was like, wait, I think I might have streamed it to the wrong YouTube channel, right? And but yeah, now you guys have an access to that. So maybe these things happen for a reason as well. So, but yeah, I'm taking all responsibility for that, obviously. But also understanding something very powerful. And I think you guys can hear it in my voice as well, right? There's something different about the sound of my voice. Now, I do have a stuffy nose and, I've had a sore throat for a while, but that's besides the point. I'm talking about the quality of the communication that you're receiving right now. It's not this uncertainty, it's this very high level of, choppiness and engaging in a way where I'm not overgiving of my energy. Yeah, I'm preserving and I'm conserving myself because today's a healing day, okay? Today is a 2-day, okay? 2-day, okay? 2-0, okay? It's the 20th. But 2 plus 0 is 2, and 2 is the feminine energy. I want you to understand something, man. Your personality is something that you can control in this life, okay? Your character is something that you can control in this life. Imagine you had the personality of a god. You could serve way more people, okay? With a big personality rather than what? The personality of a mouse, a tiny personality, like, you're not going to give anything, right? But once you change the structure of the thing, it's way better, right? Yeah, the whole thing changes. So it's the same thing. It's like, are people really the ones that you call disgusting, or are they a part of a disgusting system, right? That's segregating our power away from nature, our true nature as well. Where is the form of divinity and sacred practice and ritual throughout your day? Or are you just mindlessly, mind-numbingly consuming without thinking about it? Or mindlessly overgiving, putting it all on the line, okay? I'm just like that, I just walk with my heart on my sleeve, okay? No, actually, it means you have no filter, okay? You have no filter, and sometimes you need a filter, okay? Because you say the wrong thing, you face the consequences. But that doesn't mean that you're gonna suppress your expression. That doesn't mean you're gonna curtail your freedom of speech. It just means that you're conscious, you're alert. When I'm channeling, I'm not alert, I'm letting go, I'm holding space, I'm going into trance. But then those invisible subconscious downloads can really come through in those moments when I'm just letting go, But think about this, does nature worry about overgiving? The trees are giving every single day. The sun is shining every single day. If you couldn't rely on the sun, you'd be terrified. What if the sun was love bombing you, bro? You get what I mean? You guys know what love bombing is, right? You basically spike emotionally. It's like gambling, right? So you give someone attention and then you take attention away from them, and they have this 50-50 like adrenaline hit, right? Like this gambling thing that takes over, where it's like, I need it, right? This is how you create obsession. This is the thing, right? Sometimes I love you, sometimes I don't. And that creates this addictive like spark of like, are they gonna give me validation or not? Okay? So really look at this, guys. What if the sun was like, sometimes I'll come up, some days I won't? We would then have a strange relationship with that sun, correct? I mean the sun in the sky. I'm using a weird metaphor here, I know. But this makes sense to me. And sense brings us back to what? Our senses. Indra, the leader of the gods, also means your senses. So whatever you focus on grows. Wherever you have your senses, there is manifestation. So your senses are God, because your senses are creating. You see? It's that energy of creation, of Genesis. It's that spark of divine gnosis. It's that realization, the instant download that you get, that you know that you are the most valuable person to you. You know that you don't have to prove your value. You know that you don't have to constantly prove your worth all the time. You know that you don't have to over-explain yourself. And yet you crave the attention and the validation to constantly keep giving, constantly sacrificing, constantly compromising, constantly, belittling yourself. For what? Okay? For what? All you're doing is making yourself do this on autopilot, changing your habits towards a more codependent pattern. Now let me say, if that interaction did not drain you, you're doing something correct. If you feel that that conversation was very healing that you had, and you actually didn't overgive, and it was like a 2-hour conversation with someone in the moonlight, it was a deep, meaningful one, and you guys stayed up late and you ate cookies or whatever, but it was a deep, profound revelation, and you felt this need of like, wow, like I have a whole new outlook on life after that conversation, that 2-hour conversation, right? Have you ever had conversations like that? That is not overgiving, my friends. That's giving and receiving. But a lot of people, they aren't open to receiving. They're only givers. And that's where you start overgiving, when you can't receive. If you're blocked out from receiving and you're constantly spewing out, you're giving from an empty bucket. You're not taking care of what other people are saying about you. You're saying, yeah, that's not true, whatever, I'll decide what it means to me, I'm the one. And you skirt over your blind spots. You spiritually bypass this entire thing. So this is what I wanted to talk to you guys today about, right? I could be like, why is the tree giving me such warmth and sustenance? What did I do to deserve it? Now you're making it this human matrix game, dude. What? What do you mean? It's a tree. It's meant to provide shelter. It's just doing what it's there to do. And we planted that tree, so it's harvesting. So that's the thing. You've planted some seeds in your mind that are harvesting. But you better take care of that system. As a shaman, as a practitioner, as a healer, whatever you're doing right now, you gotta understand, are you taking care of yourself? If you need to rest, please rest. Please rejuvenate yourself. Don't burn yourself out. You don't need to give from an empty cup. You just need to be honest with yourself and be honest with others. We can overgive when we lie, We can overgive when we're just coming up with stuff and just, whatever to appease our own ego, right? We can keep giving and giving and giving because it's not our true source. But then there's this level of like, it's not even overgiving, right? But it's this sense of expression. That thing is limitless. And that's like a weird God spark. So what is the difference between that and overgiving? I think it's the main difference between passion and obsession. Is it a compulsion for you? Or is it your own creation? So if you're operating out of a compulsion, I have to tell them everything around this topic, right? Otherwise, they can't handle themselves. Imagine a lot of parents have this mentality too, right? Like let's say you have a child, he could be, maybe a little bit slow or disabled or whatever, and you expect him to be like, American Idol or Top Chef or something. Like you have all these expectations of your child, but also you're not letting them be autonomous. You're not letting them do things and learn things on their own, right? You're doing everything for them. And so what does that create? It actually creates insecurity in the child, that everything will be handled for me, a sense of entitlement, right? A sense of like not really doing things myself. I don't know if I can handle doing things myself, right? I remember, man, I grew up in an environment where maids were doing everything for me, they were doing my laundry, they were doing my clothes. And when I went to college, then I was like, whoa, I gotta do all this stuff myself, you mean? That was a real kicker, right? That was a reality check for me, my friends. Because then I start to
hipster
realize,
socks
man,
with
this
me.
thing is a lot tougher than you think, man. Adulting is a lot more tougher than you think. But guess what? Am I just an adult or am I a god in training? This is what makes our path working different, my friends. Because not only do I understand I am a god fractal, I understand that I am able to tap into my best self, my God self, and know that that version of me is giving myself some sustenance, some wisdom. And that version of me does not overgive. It just lives. It breathes. It impacts simply by its mere presence. All will unfold as it should. If you want acceptance from others, you got to accept you. You got to forgive you. Bring that power back so you don't constantly overgive. Stop bending over backwards and just being submissive to other people's energies. You gotta hold your own energy like it's a dominant force field and you are in your specific vibration. You cannot just suddenly conclude things. You have to get into wonder and awe again in this life. So that's my advice today, man. I hope this video gives you a different perspective. And I hope you decide to give from that boundless place of the infinite in your heart, rather than this mental jargon that might or might not help someone. So give, but use your discernment, use your wisdom. Know when your energy's down and you're a leaky bucket and you need to take care of yourself. Understand yourself greater. Gain the self-knowledge and the tools here on this channel. You've got this, we've got this. Upward Spiral gang, may we never be the same again. Hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be back again. Let's get it. Upward Spiral gang, gang, gang. May you never be the same again. We're all gonna make it, us.